Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. So today we get to take a look at the brand new 2023 BMW M3. Huge shout out to Hendrick BMW Northlake for providing this family sedan for me today. Be sure to check out their website. That link is down in the description. So this M3 is finished off in black sapphire metallic with an MSRP just shy of $78,000. Underneath the hood, you'll find the 3-liter inline 6-cylinder twin turbo engine. This model is paired to the 6-speed manual transmission, pumping out 473 horsepower, 406 pound-feet of torque. That power is sent to the rear wheels, propelling this 3,900-pound sedan from 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds, up to its maximum top speed of 172. This also has a fuel capacity of 15.6 gallons. You'll expect to see around 16 miles per gallon in the city, 23 out on the highway. This also has a wheelbase of 112.5 inches. Its overall length is 189.1. It has a width of 74.3 and a height of 56.4 inches. As we move on to the exterior styling now for this M3, let's start off with the massive kidney grille. Now this has been a design in the last few year models from BMW, and I personally love it on the M cars. I think especially with the lines in the bottom of the hood there, I think it blends in very nicely. Plenty of cutouts to provide a lot of cooling to that engine. There's a forward-facing camera as well with all the parking sensors. This also has the LED headlights, DRLs, and turn signals with a sleek design for those housings, very thin design to them. So that works very well. And there's even more inlets in the lower section and the corners of the bumpers. You can see a little bit of that front tire to provide better aerodynamics. And then with the rest of the lines in the hood, they go to about the middle section there and fade away. But I really like the bulges on the top of the grille on each side. It blends in nicely with the rest of that hood. Now as we work our way to the side, this has a staggered setup for the wheels. They are 19 by 9.5 up front, 20 by 10.5 in the rear, finished off in black with the red M Sport brake calipers, which is a nice touch against this exterior black. Now there's also the M3 badge just behind that. We have the body colored side mirrors, integrated turn signal and camera, and this M3 even has the full carbon fiber roof. So no sunroof since we have the carbon fiber, which is great. All of the window trim is blacked out, and it has a subtle design to it from the side. So not quite as aggressive as the front end, but as you can tell with these side skirts, they poke out a good bit to give it a little bit of an aggressive subtlety for the side. But as a sedan, all of the proportions are very nice. And as we work our way to the rear, this has a small trunk mounted spoiler finished off in that sapphire black, backup camera with all these sensors, a little bit of an aggressive design for that diffuser with the quad tip active dual exhaust, which we will start up in just a little bit. Since we have the 6-speed manual, there is no remote start. As we work our way to the cargo space now, you can use the button on the key fob or this button up underneath. And for a family style practical sedan, there's actually a lot of space in the back. There's a cubby on the passenger and driver side, no storage underneath the floor. However, you can fold down the back seat. So just pull on this tab and then the one on the passenger side. And with them folded down, that gives you a lot more interior space. There's also some tie-down hooks so you can safely secure items, making this not only a performance-oriented vehicle, but this is something that you can daily drive. If you have a family, you need practicality of a sedan, but you still want that 3-pedal action. This is a perfect blend. Now you can also lock and unlock the back door handles using that handle there. So that adds to the practicality. For the interior, this has the Harman Kardon sound system. There's leather and brushed aluminum, even the interior ambient lighting, which you can see a little bit of storage in the lower section there. And then the interior is finished off in the calamari orange. You can see the BMW colors are stitched on the seatbelts, but it pops against the exterior black. At 5'10", hopping into the back, I have plenty of room with the front seat set at my height. There's climate adjustments in the middle, USB-Cs, air vents, and then I have about a ½ inch or so above my head. So like I said, this is a practical family style sedan. I could ride around town, maybe go on a short road trip, but you have plenty of space for 3 people in the back of this vehicle. Now there's no armrest or cup holders in the middle, but you can fold down the middle seat independently. So if you have some longer items or you just want to use this as an armrest possibly, you can easily fold that down. And there's a good bit of visibility. It's very open feeling in the back. And working our way to the driver door panel, same as the rear of course, however there's lock and unlock, memory seating adjustments, all of the window adjustments, side mirror adjustments, which are power folding, even a release for the trunk. And then M3 is down on the door sill, and looking at the front seats now, M3 is up in the headrest. Very nice lateral support to these seats, all the automatic adjustments, with the exception of one manual adjustment for the forward section of the seat. So you can give yourself a little bit more comfort depending on what you need for the day. And working your way to the interior, the steering wheel is solid leather with the M badge down below. M1 and M2 are on the top, which I'll go over here soon. On the left side, all the cruise control settings. Right side, there's volume and tuning, along with Bluetooth and voice commands. But let's fire this up now with my foot on the brake and the clutch. We have that red button down below. We can bring this to life. And looking at the digital gauge cluster, on the left side is miles per hour and the fuel level. Right side is the tach and engine temperature. You'll notice that you can see what gear the vehicle is currently in. And then you can also go through a little bit more info using this button on the top of the turn signal stalk. So if I push on that once, there are your values since your refuel, and you can look at a few other factors there for all of that info. You can also push this button right in the middle and go through the rest of this content. So if I scroll down, there's the route preview, so you can pull up the compass. There's also the map, so you can have that front and center. There's setup, so this is the current setup for the driving modes for this. You can configure those using M1 and M2. There's also engine data to monitor the tires, so the temperature and the TPMS. You can look at the sport displays, which shows the horsepower and the torque. There's also a G meter too, along with your music and radio, and that is it for the middle. So not a whole lot of info, but it's definitely nice to have that front and center. There's also more of the BMW color stitched within the steering wheel, which is a great touch. Now over on the left side, these are all of the headlight adjustments. So you have parking lights, automatic, there's the dimmer switch for the gauges, also a little bit of storage space over on this left side if you need to place some items there. There's one air vent, and then working our way to the infotainment system, there is a lot of information to go through. So on the home screen, there's the map along with your setup. If I scroll over, you can go through media and phone. There's the personal assistance, tires. Some of this is the info that you saw on the gauge cluster setup, but you can also go through a lot more, like My BMW, and go through a lot more of these apps. So on your home screen, you can even add widgets to further go through some of this info and what you would like to see. Now on this left side, all of these are fixed. So you have shortcuts to all of these right here. You can go through your Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, go into your navigation, your interior lighting settings, so you can change the color of that, of course. You have your climate adjustments, even driver settings, and this is how you can configure M1 and M2. So as I mentioned earlier on the steering wheel, you can go through and have everything set up in both of these depending on how you would like to drive. So M1 can have everything in Sport or Sport Plus, and then you can have M2 in Comfort and Efficient, and you can go back and forth very quickly depending on what you are doing for the day. There's also shortcuts to your music and your phone, and then you can even pull up the navigation in full screen, so you have clear visibility to go through all that information. Now this also has a lower section that is always fixed. So the climate controls do not have physical buttons, but you can quickly gain access to them by clicking on the climate menu. You can go through the heated seats, there's the temperature, where you would like the air to go. So it doesn't matter what screen you're on in the upper section, you can always quickly get into those and go through all the settings and monitor that as needed. So I really like that setup. So we basically have presets and then all of the info to go through. Now underneath that, there's this cool gray trim piece, and it also goes around the entire lower section as well. There's two air vents right in the middle, and then a physical button for power and volume. There's tuning, some defrosters, and then if I open up this lower compartment,
it reveals 2 cup holders, 2 auxiliaries, and even a little bit of storage behind that. You might be able to place your phone or even the key fob, some smaller items like that. And then with the 6-speed manual transmission, pushing it all the way to the left and up is for reverse, where you will see the backup camera up here. There's also some shortcuts on the top-down view on the right side there. I can go into the 360-degree view, where now you can push on these icons and you have clear visibility as to what's around you, especially in a low car like this. Makes it very helpful, so if you're pulling out of a spot, you can monitor curbs or anything that might be in your way. There's also another top-down view with the guidelines for the tires, so those will turn as you adjust the steering wheel. So it gives you a lot of visibility, and then we have the rest of the 6 gears, of course. On the left side, there's also a shortcut to the forward-facing camera, so you can pull that up in full screen, which is nice to have. There's the parking sensors, traction control. There's also a setup, M mode, and the exhaust note button. Now, if I push on M mode, that will actually change where you can go into sport mode, and now you can completely change the gauge cluster, where you have more of a sporty view with what gear you're in, miles per hour, and a large tach. So it's pretty cool to be able to change that just depending on the mode that you are in for the day. The e-brake is just behind that, and then you can also use this screen without using the touchscreen. So we have all the controls down below. You can quickly get into your media, pull up the map, go home. You can bump this rotary dial over to be able to scroll through the home information and then further go through the rest of it. It's a very nice system to use, so that way you don't have to reach for that system and you can quickly do that. Right in the middle, if we open up the armrest, there's a good amount of space along with some auxiliaries, so you can charge additional electronics, and then plenty of room in the glove box for all of that information. Now, as far as visibility goes, very open from the driver's seat, so it's very easy to see in both directions. And then up top, there is a call button, and then the dome lights are on both sides. So as we set off in the manual M3, like I mentioned earlier, this has an MSRP right around $78,000, and this one's not really fully loaded. So you can add to that MSRP depending on the options, of course. And you can even go with the M3 Competition. So that's going to give it a little bit more power. You get the X-Drive all-wheel drive system. It also, though, eliminates the manual transmission. So if you want the manual, you basically have to go with the base M3, and you can have that fun factor. Now, the M3, I have it in all the Sport Plus settings right now with that exhaust on. It's not too loud. There's definitely a huge difference. If I put it into M1 now, which is laid back, comfortable, efficient, you really can't hear it. If you can tell, that was a mild acceleration, and it is pretty much back to a normal driving vehicle. Now, if I hold on M2, we can go back to those settings now. So it's really cool how you have a very practical sedan, but you also have something that's extremely performance oriented. So this is something to take on back roads, take it to the track. If you need that extra practicality, this is essentially an M4 with larger back seats. You have the rear doors, of course, to make it easier to enter and exit. But if you want something that you're not going to sacrifice the power or performance, but you need extra practicality, such a good option to go with. If I needed a sedan, this M3 would be what I would be looking for, because I love manual transmission vehicles, and I don't want to sacrifice, you know, when the time comes to have kids and I need more space. This is definitely something to add to the list. And for about $80K, I can really see that being justifiable for this. You have a lot of different vehicles basically in one because of all the settings that you can go through. And it's so easy to shift. Clutch pedal is super light, shifter is very engaging. It's an easy car to drive, which is nice. And with an acceleration from second gear, here we go. Very mild for that acceleration, and we are up to speed. basically $80,000 for this M3. Such a good deal for this price range with the practicality, the ease of driving, and the performance that BMW gives you. They make extremely highly performance-oriented vehicles, and this M3 is no exception. You can have a lot of fun, especially being rear-wheel drive. You can definitely have some fun in this vehicle. You can opt for the X-Drive system in the Competition if you want that. So easy to row through these gears with everything in Sport Plus or Sport mode. It's definitely a big change. I can put it down into M1 now, which I have set up for efficient and comfort. And now basically it's a normal style sedan. Aside from having the manual transmission, of course. But if you want to drive this just very relaxed, you have a lot of different settings to go through, which I love to see in this vehicle. So it just depends on what you're doing for the day. You can absolutely daily drive this M3. If this is your only vehicle, you're definitely not going to get bored with the drive modes that you can do, and especially shifting yourself. Such a fun sedan to go with. And we'll do one last acceleration. Turning radius is also very tight, so that's easy to do. But here we go. And again, very mild, but I've had a lot of experience in the M4 going to the mountains and things like that. So this would be very, very identical to that from my perspective, but I would really love to rip on this more and experience what this M3 is capable of. But I think that is going to wrap it up for today's video. Huge shout out again to Hendrick BMW Northlake for providing this vehicle for me today. Check out their website. Also give this video a huge thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and consider smashing that subscribe button so you don't miss out on our daily uploads. I'll see you all in the next video.